So how the heck does tension work on a sewing machine? So when you're sewing on a sewing machine, you have this blue line, which is essentially a side view of your piece of fabric. You have your top thread, which is this green line, and you have your bottom thread, which is your purple line. The top thread goes down, it tangles around the purple thread, and then it tangles, 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 and that tangle is what forms your stitches. And when you have ideal tension, that place where they meet, that tangle point, is inside your fabric, which means when you look down at the top of your fabric, you will only see your top thread. When you look up from the bottom of your fabric, you will only see your bobbin thread. Now, these two threads are kind of like in a game of tug-of-war where the top thread is trying to pull the bobbin thread up and the bobbin thread is trying to pull the top thread down, and you are the person who has to maintain balance between the two so that neither of them wins this tug-of-war and they meet in the middle of the fabric. Now, if you look over here on this machine, my tension discs are literally just two plates of metal held together by a screw. When my presser foot is down, they push together. When my presser foot is up, they release and they come apart. If I turn this righty-tighty, I will increase the amount that this spring pushes on these discs, therefore increasing the tension. If I turn it lefty-loosey, it will decrease the amount that this spring pushes on these discs, therefore lowering the tension. The same thing applies to sergers and sewing machines. Higher number, higher tension, lower number, lower tension. It's just, with these machines, sometimes the discs themselves are a little bit more hidden. Now, if I have this situation over here, what's essentially happening is my top thread is winning the tug-of-war. It is stronger than my bobbin thread and pulling the bobbin thread up to the top of the fabric. I don't want that. So in order to bring this into balance, I either need to make the bobbin thread stronger, and we're not usually supposed to touch bobbin tension, so what we'll usually do instead is we'll make the top thread tension weaker. So we will turn it lefty-loosey and make it a smaller number, make this weaker, and then it balances out to look more like this. In this situation, my purple is winning the tug-of-war. Therefore, my purple is either too strong, aka my bobbin thread is too strong, or my top thread is too weak. I need to balance this out by making the top thread stronger and aka have tighter tension, aka turn it righty-tighty, or increase the number on that tension disc. I cannot give you a number to set your tension disc at. It's always just trial and error. Sew a line, adjust from there. If you are sewing a long stitch versus a short stitch, you need to let more thread out. Therefore, you might need to loosen the tension, whereas this, you don't have to let much thread through, so you don't have to have that loose of a tension. If you have a thin thread versus a thick thread, the thicker thread needs to have a looser tension, the thinner thread needs to have a tighter tension, because again, they are discs pushing against each other as under spring. The spring will not let as much thread through if it's thicker as it is if it's thinner. If you're stitching through a thicker fabric versus a thinner fabric, the distance that the thread travels is greater, therefore you might need a looser tension when sewing through thicker fabrics. A zigzag stitch needs more thread let through than a straight stitch. I might need to loosen my tension on a zigzag. There are a few other things that can affect tension as well, but that is all I can fit in this video.